Cinderella narrative theory. We're looking at props theory, Todorov and the 5 stages, and Strauss, and looking at examples of opposites. First of all, we're going to look at the props theory. Here are the villains, the evil stepsisters and the evil stepmother.
Ella, what's that on your face?
Madam? It's ash from the fireplace.
Do clean yourself up.
You'll get cinders in our tea. I've got a new name for her. Cinderella.
The stepmother makes Cinderella her slave, servant, and housekeeper. She's banished to the attic and not allowed down to eat or drink with the other family members. And then we have the helper. In this case, the fairy godmother.
Remember, the magic.
She helps Cinderella arrive to the ball in a carriage. She also helps her fix her dress and gives her some glass slippers.
And all will return to what it was before.
Midnight.
Midnight.
That's more than enough time.
Off you go then.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Goosey, go!
And then we have the damsel in distress, Cinderella. She's also extremely poor now that her mother and father have both passed away and her stepmother's taken over the accounts.
I'm no princess. I have no carriage, no parents.
She's trapped in the attic, stuck being her stepsister's and stepmother's servant, cleaner and cook.
I don't even know if that beautiful slipper will fit, but...
And then we have the false heroes, the stepsisters. Here they're trying to squeeze on the glass slipper that only fits Cinderella to show that maybe they're the princess, but we all know that they're not.
Bad luck, miss.
We now have the dispatcher, the prince's father, who sends him and sends everyone on the quest to find Cinderella and encourages his son to find the love of his life. Now we have the hero.
But let's be off.
But she's lying, Your Grace.
Nonsense. I trust the lady. We're leaving.
The prince himself, who rescues Cinderella and takes her away and brings her to a happy end.
What sweet singing. Makes me want to tarry just a little.
Your Majesty, I did
Captain, would you be so kind as to investigate?
It would be my pleasure, Your Majesty.
Then we have the donor, in this case, the mice, who she speaks to and trusts throughout the whole entire film. They're her friends, they show her loyalty and trust and help her to escape by opening the window and letting her sweet singing through the window so the prince can hear.
When I am king, dilly dilly, you shall be queen. Lavender's green, dilly dilly, lavender's blue. If you love me.
Now we're going to look at the Todorov theory. Here we have the equilibrium.
There was a girl.
Here Cinderella is introduced to us as the main character in the film.
And she saw the world not always as it was, but as perhaps it could be.
We also get to
With just
see
a
where the
little
film
bit
is being set.
Magic.
My darling.
To her mother and father, she was a princess. True, she had no title, nor crown, nor castle. But she was the ruler of her own little kingdom, whose borders were the house and meadow on the forest's edge, where her people had lived for generations. But sorrow...
However, now we
can
have the
come to any
disruption,
kingdom, no
the
matter how
sickness
happy.
of her mother. Eventually passing away, this turns Ella's world completely upside down and is the start of her life going from happy to sad. Here we have the recognition of disruption. There's a ball about to take place at the palace for the prince to find a wife. However, the stepmother and the stepsisters completely ruin Ella's dress and forbid her from going to the ball, even though it clearly states that all the maidens in the land should attend.
This was my mother's. Oh, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but your mother's taste was questionable. This thing is so old-fashioned, it's practically falling to pieces. Oh, the shoulder's frayed. Oh, no, it's falling to bits.
It's a ridiculous old-fashioned joke.
We now have the attempt to repair, where Cinderella finally gets to the ball in her sparkly dress and glass slippers, dances with the prince. However, her stepmother and stepsisters never even realise it's her.
They're all looking at you.
Eventually, Cinderella has to leave at midnight and leaves the slipper behind. The prince immediately sends out a search to find Cinderella. We now have the new equilibrium.
Are you ready?
Cinderella's life was snatched and torn away from her, and now the prince gives her happiness and has allowed her to live happily ever after with him in the palace as the queen.
My queen.
My kid.
We now have the Strauss theory, looking at opposites. First of all, good versus evil. Here you have the stepmother and Ella. You can see how angelic Ella looks compared to the stepmother in her jealously green dress. Then you have light versus dark. You can see here her real mother and father, and the clothes they're wearing is extremely light and happy and playful. Now we have the stepmother again in her dark clothing. Now we have old versus young. This picture again, we can see how young Ella looks compared to the stepmother. Now rich versus poor. The rich clothing of the stepmother compared to Ella's rags carrying the water pails. Thanks for watching.